Now it's time for the combat phase. In this phase, units engage in brutal melee, attempting to hack one another to pieces with mauls, swords, talons, or whatever else they're armed with. Unlike other phases, in this one you and your opponent take turns to pick units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn it is. A unit is eligible to fight if any of its models are within 3 inches of an enemy unit, even if it made a charge move in the same turn. We'll start by picking this unit of sequitors. Before they attack, models get to make a special move called a pile-in. This helps as many models as possible get into fighting range. To pile in, move any models from the eligible unit you've selected up to 3 inches. Models that pile in must finish their move at least as close to the nearest enemy model as they started. After they've piled in, a unit can fight. Attacking in close combat is just like attacking at range, so if you've not watched the shooting phase video, you should probably go do that. Oh wait. Done? Great. To recap, every unit has a war scroll which features the weapons the model in that unit can attack with. Each weapon has 6 characteristics. You've got attacks, range, to hit, to wound, rend, and damage. In the combat phase, your models fight with their melee weapons. Pick a target and declare where your attacks are going. In this case, all of our attacks are being aimed at this unit of Blood Reavers. Because all the attacks are targeting the same unit, we're going to roll the dice for the whole unit together. These sequitors have Storm Smite Mauls, which means they get 2 attacks each with a range of 1 inch. As all 5 of these sequitors are within 1 inch of an enemy model, they can all attack. With 2 attacks each, that's a total of 10 attacks, meaning we roll 10 dice to see how many hits we can score. A quick look at the sequitor's war scroll tells us they need to roll a 3 or more to hit. 6 hits. Next up, we need to see how many of these hits causes a wound. Again, on the war scroll, we can see that the sequitor Storm Smite Mauls have a 2 wound characteristic of 3+. So again, we'll need a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to wound the enemy. 4 wounds. Our opponent then gets to see if his warrior's armor can save, preventing some of these wounds. Blood Reavers have a save characteristic of 6+. As the Sequitor Storm Smite Mauls don't have a value on their rend characteristic, the Blood Reaver's save rolls aren't modified at all, and so any save rolls of a 6 will protect a Blood Reaver from 1 wound. Just like with wounds from ranged attacks, our opponent rolls 1 die for each wound he's trying to save. Okay. Whew! Our opponent has rolled 1 6, meaning he only saved 1 out of the 4 wounds. Overall, 3 of my 10 attacks successfully hit, wounded, and made it through the armor. Storm Smite Mauls have a damage characteristic of 1, and Blood Reavers only have 1 wound each. So overall, we do 3 damage, killing 3 Blood Reavers. Ha! After your unit has attacked with all of its weapons, it's your opponent's turn to choose a unit to fight with. You and your opponent take turns to select a unit to fight with, one at a time, until all the units that are eligible to fight in both players' armies have done so. After every eligible unit has fought, the combat phase is over. Join us in our next video when we move on to the final phase of the turn, the Battle Shock phase.